Okay, here we go. It's time to head into Egypt. I have literally no idea why that cutscene just there exists. It's literally just like... I get why it's there to kind of bring us into this nice and smoothly, but, it's so short. It's kind of just like, why was the loading screen necessary? Couldn't you just kind of fitted it in somehow, please? Either way, so we begin in the Temple of Khamoon, I believe it was. Which, is a lovely little place. There are a number of little things you can do in this, area. Got some health packs in and about, and so on and so forth. But the main thing you want to do to be able to get out is, just on the other side of the room. It's essentially, you've got to grapple a pillar down, and that will allow you to, gain access to, the exit. Because as it is, Lara's got nothing to, be able to do, because she can't make that jump without yanking these things down. Also, if you wanted a nice, easier way of getting to that ledge, that is how you do it. There's no point in trying to do the, crazy platforming insanity that I thought was a good idea at the time. Also, I'm really being an idiot in my progression here. Because logic would dictate that you should, you know, make sure you had grappled everything down first before you did anything. So now that we've done that, we can actually get out. Don't worry, I'm not going to be a complete and utter fool like that for a reasonable chunk of Egypt. Although there are a few rather nasty rooms in Egypt, which certainly provide a challenge, to say the least. And there we go. With that, we are out of that room, and we can progress. So these scarab switches, these are something that you are going to come across quite a lot throughout Egypt. And basically, what it is you've got to jump on them and very quickly jump again, because the switch is lower down, and if you miss it, then you will have to drop down and repeat. Which, in later moments, is not fun in the slightest. Also, we've got I think that's a panther. Not 100% sure. Let's go with Black Panther. So this is also the point in the game where you are going to come across one of the more difficult enemies in the game. In this next room, actually. And they're really not pleasant to defeat. Because they're very fast and very powerful. And it's going to get worse, although not until around the end of Egypt. That's when things start to get a little bit annoying. Also, it's really nice to have just the large health packs listed everywhere. I'm beginning to wonder who's just left them lying about. Because I can't see anybody else having explored these areas particularly well. But yes, here is our absolutely wonderful evil enemy. So here we have what are essentially mummies, and as you can see they are so fast and really, really vicious. You do not want to get caught by these guys, because they will attack. Their actual name, I believe, is Khamoon Mummy. Yes. They certainly look a lot more threatening than they did in the original, because in the original they were literally a mummy. They were just bandages with bits of red muscle poking out, which I guess could be slightly more terrifying than the actual look. There are also called cat mummies or panther mummies or whatever. It's because they kind of move around like a cat, almost. But yeah, in the transition from the original Tomb Raider to the anniversary version, they gained the ability to throw fireballs and also attack in groups, which apparently they didn't used to do. And also, when it was killed, it exploded. So yeah, these guys are horrible. And they are a version of a certain type of enemy that we will be coming into at the end of the game, but only then. So our first task is to basically get keys, I believe, or get into this particular room here, and then once in there we need to get some keys, and after that we need to open the doors. Also, we have another wonderful stash, and okay, that explains where that health pack came from. I feel sorry for the poor sod who got stuck up here. It's a very horrible place to die. Yeah, I do really like, kind of, that Lara gets to come to Egypt. 'Cause, I mean, whenever you think of ancient artifacts, Egypt really is kind of the main location that you think of, because you've got the sphinxes and the pyramids and all of that, and it really does just have that essence of archaeological wonder. And I just think it's great. I guess it's also because kind of Egyptian mythology is just quite fun. Because you've got the whole Anubis and Ra. Ra? Yes, Ra. And Osiris, Isis, Horus, and the pharaohs and all of that. It's just really cool. I really like my mythology. I'm beginning to realise this now. Like, 'cause I like my Greek mythology, I like my Egyptian mythology, I like my Norse mythology, I like the King Arthur stories, legend, mythology, whatever you want to call it. It's just a really awesome thing to see, because with mythologies you've got the whole thing of that they are incredibly fantastical, and in a way that they can become greater than just what they are, because when you start taking them into consideration and like use them as a starting point for things, you can create some truly spectacular stories. So kind of they provide a great kind of way of building a world, or kind of having a world to base things on, because they are real mythologies. Because what I've noticed tends to happen with a lot of games is that when they try to come up with their own mythology, things get very, very messy. Perfect example of that is Final Fantasy XIII. That series attempted to create its own mythos, and then got very heavily confused in it. I mean, it did have links to Norse mythology, because all of the summons are based on Norse characters. But yeah, I just really like mythologies. Now, what we are required to do here is a slightly, not completely complicated manoeuvre. Basically, we need to make our way over to this side of the room, and wait for this to move back in. You're given plenty of time to make it, because what you need to do is you need to grapple swing over to this ledge here, which means that you can then get to the door, climb up, and get out of this room. And funnily enough, we're actually going to be returning to this room later on. There are a few more secrets left for us to find. Also, I love that rats are a credible enemy in this game. It's kind of like, we need something that's small and yet terrifying. Let's go for rats. I mean, the thing is that even though they are very, very easy to kill, if you just try and ignore them, then potentially they can cause you a lot of grief. Because if they just gnaw away at your health, slowly but surely, then you do end up with a distinct lack of health. And when that happens, you could die. So this is where a lot of timing things start to come into focus. You basically need to time your jump onto the pole, which is easier said than done. And once you've timed your jump onto the pole, you then need to pretty much immediately leap onto the next thing. You do have a bit of leeway, but still, you have less leeway on that. And here we this is here we go. This is kind of like the last room for what we are facing. And look, there's a crocodile. Just remember, never smile at a crocodile. It's bad for you. Oh, look, there's another one. Thankfully, this space is really big, so you don't have to worry too much about them. Now, there may not look like there's a whole lot to do in this room, and if I recall correctly, there kind of isn't, but this is where the level is going to end. Basically, what we need to do is open the obelisk of Khamoon, and that will let us in. So, I believe Khamoon itself is a fictional creation. Maybe. If only because literally the only real thing in which Khamoon turns up is in Tomb Raider. Or in other fictional things. Because apparently there's a book which has got the name Khamoon in it. But I believe it begins here. As you can probably guess, even though Core Design did put some effort into their creationary process, they did like to make stuff up and not follow mythologies exactly. So it's hardly surprising that things can happen. And you have creations like the city of Khamoon. Now this room here has got a rather interesting platforming challenge for you. After getting the large health pack, which is down here, essentially it's one massive timing room, or at least sort of speed running almost. Because that platform up and to the right there, when you step on it, it is going to start retracting back into the wall. And let's just say that getting across is rather a pain. Because what you need to do is keep jumping to make sure that it doesn't drop you back into the water. Because that will happen. And it's not fun when that happens. So then you have to repeat the process all over again. It's not as bad as a later segment, which I believe is here in Egypt. I'm trying to remember if I am completely correct in that. I may be slightly wrong. It may be the level after this. My memory of it, I know exactly the position, the place where it is, but I cannot remember for the life of me whether it's here or in our final area. Because I mean, already this is the third quarter of the game essentially. Now, here's something that confuses me. So, Lara's weight was enough to make that platform distract back into the wall. So, why does the massive stone block make it so that the wall the platform doesn't go back into the wall? I'm not quite sure how that makes sense. But there we go, they decide to do crazy things sometimes. So what you need to do here is get this platform so that you can leap over to the ledge over in the corner there. Basically we are working towards our switch, which is going to open everything up for us. Which is always fun. And if my memory does not deceive me, it is essentially just at the top of here. This is the ever so slightly annoying thing if you fail here, is that you do have to leap back to the platform that's going to drop at some point. And it's just like, Lara, no! Grab the thing, damn you, woman! It's really annoying, because it is kind of just like, Lara, I'm telling you to jump up, and eventually she will do what you want her to. It's not always the case, though, unfortunately. So our first target now is heading to a platform which is just there, which is going to allow us to pull down that trapdoor, essentially. Well, at least both trapdoors, because well, no. What we have to do here is pull that down, and very, very, very quickly grapple swings over and through the hole before it drops back down. It's really fun and evil of them to do to you, but it's certainly possible, as I'm about to prove now. That Lara is very good at pulling the Indiana Jones stunt. Yeah, you literally just have to swing and jump. That is your only hope of making it through that. And having done that, we can now do a little bit more here. Evidently, because the left side is broken, we need to utilise the right-hand side. It's a nice little piece of common sense that kind of may not be expecting, considering some of the nonsensical nature of Anniversary so far. But here we go. Here is the switch we've been looking for, and this is going to open things up for us. So, once we've pulled this, it's time to continue onwards, down below the cat statue. Yay!